AutoSave. My name is Camille Salazar-Hadaway, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Nick Andrade.
Woo. What an entrance. Thank you.
I know. I really wanted to do, your walkout entrance in podcast form, and I think I accomplished that.
I felt like Ric Flair strutting. And then I come in, I'm like, cut the music.
Cut it. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely day today.
Yep.
I am excited that we are close to finishing this beautiful game that is Bioshock, so that one day, we can talk to Fontaine. Just one day.
Today may be that day.
I'm hoping.
But you know what? Last episode was it. And that was sad because we are continuing, like Nick said, our dive into the world of Rapture, Bioshock. And on last week's episode,
you broke the spell! But laying all your chips on Mother Goose, it's not like you never been double-crossed before. You know what I'm saying? Off at the point, Prometheus. We'll discuss this like men. You, me, submarine topside, and more at him than you can possibly imagine.
So after the Little Sisters helped us escape Fontaine's self-destruct sequence, we found ourselves with Tannenbaum, who was able to remove some of the control elements that Fontaine had over us, mainly the would you kindly trigger. And we think she did that through removing parts of our brain. I don't know. There was lots of blood everywhere on the operating table, so she might have cut us open. But guess what? Fontaine found out and was super upset about it. And we also had a mild heart attack, which was a little set on by Fontaine because we found out that he still had a hold on Jack. And Tannenbaum helps Jack find Suchan's Lot 192 serum to really cure the mind control that Fontaine has over us. And of course, that makes Fontaine more upset. I mean, this guy just keeps getting upset time and time again.
He's a baby.
He's a baby, but he never wants to show his face. But with all that said, Fontaine also mentions that we shouldn't trust Tannenbaum because she's going to double cross us. But considering both sides and who's been nicer to us throughout the whole entire game so far, we're siding with Tannenbaum, at least for now. So that leaves us here. For this episode, we're hopefully, like Nick said at the top of the show, we're going to see Fontaine. But, Nick, before we get to the nitty-gritty, I thought, it's good to bring in a little flavor of the question of the day.
Yes.
Yes. Question of the day. Yes, let's do it. That Nick was just like, yes. He didn't want any.
Yes.
He didn't want any flavor of the question of the day. He just wants the question of the day.
I do. What is it?
What is it? Well, Nick, okay, in this chapter, we are going to have our first escort mission in the game. Okay. And, there's mixed feelings with escort missions, but I thought it'd be fun to name our top 3 escort missions in games, period.
Does the entirety of God of War 2018 count as an escort quest? Because we are escorting Atreus to the peak of the highest mountain in all of Midgard or the realms.
You know what? I'll allow it. I know some people will say no because traditionally escort missions, you have the risk of the person you're escorting dying. And that's a failed mission. I don't know if we have that.
There's one instance where we have to escort him because he's sick.
Yes, that is true.
I don't think there's a point, it's not a GTA failed mission if you stall, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think it gives the option. That's kind of one. Again, The Last of Us Part 1, is that also an entire escort quest the entire game?
That would make sense. That would make sense. And Nick is just really powering through this list. I thought it'd be a little harder.
Well, I can't give you a specific quest that I can remember.
Yeah.
But these 2 games specifically have very much escorting
properties to them. Elements. Yeah.
Yes. In the game that I play a lot, Final Fantasy XIV Online, there is a multitude of these quests where it's just draining your soul. I've probably done 6,000 of them where I have to escort one person to another place and then enemies spawn and then they might die. You know what the most annoying thing about escort quests is? When the NPC that you have with you, let's say, doesn't follow you properly because it either glitches or you ran too fast and it can't catch up and you have to go back to some point. That is probably the most annoying. Those are the two that I can think of, but I'm sure you have some bigger ones percolating in your brain.
Percolating. Yeah, I do. To your point of like when the person being escorted isn't following you properly, is like running the other way. Resident Evil 4, escorting Ashley. There were so many times I wanted to just leave her to die by zombie bite.
Yes.
I was so annoyed because like you're running one way and she's like, no, I'm going to go the completely opposite way or run in circles. Why? There are zombies everywhere, Ashley. Why are you running in circles?
Yeah.
So that's that one for me. And then I will add The Walking Dead, Telltale Walking Dead.
Yes.
The first one with Clementine, because it was just like super emotional and it was really sad. I mean, oh my God. Don't take me back. You know what? Escort missions could be that was actually a really well done escort mission. Like, you know, usually it gets flack, but even though it was like the whole game or the first chapter was like its own escort mission, I will say it was done really well.
Speaking of Bioshock, the Bioshock Infinite.
Oh, okay.
With Elizabeth, when you have to help Elizabeth escape her compound or confines.
Yeah.
It's a pretty risky mission and gets your heart racing.
That's pretty good. See, I didn't play Bioshock Infinite. Remember, this is my first.
I didn't play Walking Dead, so.
Okay. So, like, I'm going to take your word for that one. I guess, like, one of my first escort missions is Yoshi Island because, you know, your baby Mario taking care of baby Yoshi, which, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. How can a baby babysit a baby, firstly? Secondly, Yoshi always just wants to go and cry in his little bubble and do things. But that again, fun one. So I guess we just proved escort missions don't have to be all bad.
Well, as you're saying that, there's a Reddit post that is very, very highly rated that says, have you even ever experienced a good escort mission? Many hundreds and thousands of likes.
Do you
just
even
berating
know?
The escort mission? But yeah, it's a hotly debated subject, right?
It is debated, and we're gonna have to actually see if Bioshock, in this chapter at least, does it justice, because, you know, there's a bit of date on this game. But as I mentioned, we are going to be diving back into Bioshock, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to finally come face to face with Fontaine as we head to Point Prometheus with Tannenbaum to guide us to the man himself right after this break here on AutoSave.
Alright, you looking to slug it out? I'm game. But I got all the atom in the city, pal, and I ain't shy about it. Now, I'm game to take her out for a spin.
What is this you wait for? Go and get this idiot!
What a clip.
I know, what a clip. I just loved it because it was just like, we're being yelled at again by two people. And it's a hot drop. Right when you start this chapter, we end up in the atrium where we see Fontaine and we have to chase him. And he is ready for a chase. There's a couple things about this, Nick. Okay. Firstly, I don't like Tannenbaum's attitude. Okay. It's like, stop trying to belittle me because I didn't, like, I'm taking a breath. Okay. I've been walking around Rapture getting all spliced up. Okay. From splicers, having bots attack me. I'm waiting because I need a break or else I'm going to have a heart attack, okay? Also, it kind of seems a little too Atlas-like for my blood.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What's going on here now, Tannenbaum? First, you've been like, oh, thank you for helping my sweet child. I will give you a gift over here. Please open it. And like, that's what our normal interactions with Tannenbaum. And then after, she's like, I helped you free yourself. And now she's like, fucking kill Fontaine, you idiot.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, now I guess maybe because she thinks she has like a little bit of hold over us because we helped her.
Like, again, how do we? It's not good.
That's not good. And how do we know we were knocked out? Okay, how do we know she didn't put something in our brain to control us? Because Jack's interest should be just trying to leave this place.
What is his purpose now at this point? We haven't heard from. I want to hear his voice. I want to hear what he sounds like, if he can even talk.
Jack, just mumble if you're okay. Just let us know.
Just do a nod if you're okay or a shake of your head.
Yeah,
let us know,
just
please.
let us know. Blink twice. Oh, wait, we can't see
We
you
can't
blink.
see it.
Now, throughout the chase, Fontaine is throwing Jones our way and literally a pillar because he's jacked up on a bunch of Adam. But then he also runs like a Looney Tune cartoon or something to that nature. His knees are like high in the air and he's taking unnecessarily large steps and like frailing his arms around. I was dying of laughter. I thought he'd be much more menacing. And he's also wearing a jumper, right? Like right? He's wearing like a full jumper. I didn't imagine that from him.
I imagined him wearing a like mechanic uniform that says Frank on it. Like that's
really?
Like a onesie. Like that's it. Like maybe a jean looking onesie.
Okay, I could see that. I was more thinking like, a suit jacket.
Oh, you think he'd have a suit jacket?
Yeah, but like it'd be all rugged and like maybe the sleeves would be rolled up,
You think it would be a corduroy jacket?
Maybe there'll be some patches on there. I don't know.
Oh, I have one more thing to say is if you play the Benny Hill song, the
yeah, that's all we can do.
This is basically what this mission is right now.
That is exactly what this part of the mission is. And in classic Bioshock fashion, the bad guy gets away. Fontaine gets away. He runs through a door. And in order to get to him, Tannenbaum says that we need to be a Big Daddy or get a Big Daddy. At first, it's very unclear. And another classic Bioshock way of like what you have to do. But you have to get to Fontaine. And this chase was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I thought it'd go on a little bit longer. But hey, I mean, if Fontaine's able to slip away, good on him. That just means we're going to get him.
It's the suit control system. So good, get it. That is step one in turning you into one of those disgusting Big Daddies. The only way to get through that door Fontaine went through is to have a little one open it for you. They will only trust you if you look like, sound like, and even smell like one of those big, stinking brutes.
So because Fontaine locked the door, there's only like a small passage in the door that really a little sister could fit through. So in order to get a little sister, we have to become a Big Daddy in order to, could be taken out of context, but this is in the context of this video game, lure the little sister.
Oh my God.
When Tannenbaum said that, I was just like, does she know what she's saying right now?
I'm glad you're leading this episode today.
Yes. But another thing about Tannenbaum, and she's been showing a lot of remorse for like what she did to these little sisters. She doesn't have the same remorse, it seems like, for the Big Daddies. She says you'll become a stinky, like, just, she's so like, it's exactly how she would talk about the little sisters early on in the experiments in those audio diaries. And that was like a little bit shocking to me because I'm like, what? Shouldn't you be in like remorseful state for everything you've done to Rapture? So this is kind of making me feel like Fontaine may be right. Tannenbaum has her motives that aren't quite clear to us yet.
I think Tannenbaum, although again, she's trying to make up for her past mistakes, like she said in the last episode, I feel like there is still so much backstory behind everything with her, especially being in Nazi Germany, allegedly, and maybe doing experiments there. There's still that angle, like you said, like there's something there going on where she still almost belittles certain aspects of life in Rapture, and also being a proponent of others. Maybe because the Big Daddies weren't her experiments as much as the little sisters were, or maybe she just looks at her little sisters like her responsibility, and these Big Daddies are foregone. Like they're dumb. They have no shot, no chance. Where these little sisters are smart, and she wants to save them. So again, I don't think it's right, but we're clearly seeing that she's not perfect.
And clearly seeing that, say it with me, we don't trust her. Nick, you were supposed to say it with me. What happened?
Didn't say it because I trust her at this point.
Nick!
She's the last form of, I don't know, sane person here in Rapture that we have to deal with. I'll take her calling me an idiot any day, especially her. She cured us from the mind control.
Or so we think. What if she just put another trigger in our mind? I don't know. I don't trust her. Nick trusts her. Even if she's the last person in Rapture and I have to rely on her to help me escape, doesn't mean I have to trust her. That's all I'm going to say, Nick.
All right. I mean, I would rather her telling me what to do than Fontaine. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, for sure. For sure. For sure. Well, in order to become a Big Daddy, there's a few things we have to do. The first one is that we have to smell like a Big Daddy to attract this little sisters. I feel like as I'm reading my script that I wrote this from a very like, this is just the game and what's happening. But wording or phrasing means everything in the world.
I totally understand you. It's like the innocent mind. You're just writing what you're seeing or what's happening.
Yeah.
And what you're now saying out loud, you're realizing is terrible.
Pretty much we need the Big Daddy pheromones. Okay. Because
which is weird. It's a weird, like I didn't understand why this was the route that they chose.
Yeah.
That we had to deal with pheromones and getting the smells of the Big Daddy. It's kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. And I feel like everyone in Rapture thinks it's weird because we have multiple audio diaries from Tannenbaum, Suchan, all of them pretty much saying like they don't know why this thing is, but it is. So I guess it's like the Rapture perfume if you want, little sisters to harvest Adam for you. So we head to Little Wonders, and Fontaine threatens us on our way there. Not only us, though, also threatens Tannenbaum and the Little Sisters, referring to them as Mother Goose and ripping them limb from limb. I'm starting to see why Andrew Ryan might have been the lesser of two evils. Like, Fontaine just seems straight up crazy. Like, we don't know what his purpose is because Rapture's all gone to crap, right?
Yeah.
But he's still like, you know what I mean?
He might be one of the most, for me playing this game specifically in this moment, one of the most annoying characters that I've ever had to deal with. Because it was all cool that he played us and he was Atlas and Frank Fontaine and he revealed himself and the Would You Kindly, like all that was really cool. Like, again, like one of the best reveals in all of video game history. Mm-hmm. But this man is a slimeball and a loser. Yeah. And it's so annoying because every time, Cam, he calls Tannenbaum Mother Goose. He says this, he says that, he says this, but he won't face us. And he keeps saying, I'm game to fight you. Come on, mano y mano. I got all the Adam in the world. Let's fight. Come on. And then every time he's like, high knee kick, run. Out of here. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, let's go. Let's tango, bud. All right. Stop with your audio messages. You're calling us every 2 seconds. Let's just face, man. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this one-way chat, bud.
Yeah.
All right.
Bud. You bring up a good point, and actually I'll take now to talk about it. I think it's interesting that when we were, I guess, when the wool was pulled over us by Atlas/Fontaine. I think that put the thought in our heads that he's more sane and like more methodical with like what he's doing in Rapture, right? Like he has this higher purpose. He's not like the everyday, he's not like a splicer, you know, he's not crazy. He has more of a reason, a purpose behind everything he's doing. I think it's interesting how the game is starting to flip that persona that we might have put on Fontaine ourselves because he was able to trick us. And we're realizing actually he may be more like the everyday splicer, just screaming and like running around and saying random things. Then now this has me thinking if the game is setting us up for another reveal of the bigger villain, which I believe is Tannenbaum.
So you think that he's still an underling?
Yes.
To someone else?
Not an underling to someone else, but not the boss. Like, I don't think he is the boss. I think the game is playing us again. I think it's saying, like, it's building it up to Fontaine, you know, he's this witty guy that was able to outsmart us and able to outsmart Andrew Ryan, who was this genius that brought together Rapture. But really, actually, he was a slime ball. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He is kind of cowardly. He is very much insane, similar to Splicers. Maybe he doesn't have his full head on his shoulder, which has me think that there is a bigger boss there. And I think it may be Tannenbaum. I think the game's setting us up for that.
I understand that. I don't think so. However, we see that this Fontaine, like once the persona of Atlas is gone, it's this very, I wouldn't say
like that's just who
vulnerable
he
man,
is.
but yeah, this is just who he is, and maybe he is very erratic, and this is why the war between Andrew Ryan and Fontaine was crazy because he was unpredictable. Mm-hmm. And as Atlas to us, he was trying to be this calm, cool, collected, normal person, but that's not who he is. I don't think Tannenbaum is a bigger villain, although we are getting seeds here.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, we learned some stories about Tannenbaum.
Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily learned like hideous things about her, maybe. But that's just my theory, because I'm trying to trust Tannenbaum and you're not. So I understand what you're saying. But yes, there could be a different layered boss. Yeah. I can see that happening.
Yeah, I can. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're throwing down. We're going to have to see which of us gets it right. But we also need to find these pheromones, Nick. And one is at the most eastern end of the hallway when you enter, and it's near to a safe cracker. So it's just right sitting on the desks because things just sit on the desk here. And then the other one is actually on the atrium balcony that is next to a corpse. And then the third one's in the same room on the other side of that. So when you go to the atrium, you will find the pheromones. And then Tannenbaum lets us know we need to now find a Big Daddy suit and a voice box so we could sound like a Big Daddy. So we head through the atrium again, and there's lots of drones, so you got to stay on your toes. And that's when we hear from Fontaine again.
You're playing a bad hand, kid. You're just too spliced to smell it. Roll on back to Mother Goose now, or everything's gonna go busto.
Definitely erratic. Definitely crazy. He is losing it even more. And I don't know if he's losing it because we're getting closer and closer to him. So maybe there's the fear that we're actually going to get him. Because remember, he saw we were able to get to Andrew Ryan, even though he was manipulating us. But like we took out Andrew Ryan. So maybe that imagery is now like becoming a potential truth for him as we get closer to him. So I guess he's scared that we actually may get him. We have to head to the optimized eugenics, and to greet us, we have a security camera. So if you don't want to miss it, be careful. Because I totally missed it, and I got shot, and these canisters laying in the hallway here were exploded and also did damage on me. So just be careful.
That's okay. Especially with this chapter, I feel like there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of enemies coming at you all at once. A lot of bright lights, a lot of gunshots. So it's easy to kind of miss it.
Yes.
Don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad, but I feel bad. So we have to get the voice box, and you can actually find that in the live subject test room. Head to the main hall and watch out for the RPG turrets there, which I'm sorry, there's a few of them in this chapter, and I didn't really like them. But if you look around, you'll also find an audio diary before you leave to go back to the atrium balcony. And there's going to be a few Big Daddies along the way. I mean, it's lots of battles, lots of drones, also drones that you could hack, which I highly suggest. We also need to get the suit, though. And to get the suit, you have to go to the fail-safe armored escorts area. And when you head through the first decontamination room, you'll see some small bots that you could hack, especially at this part because things just pop up out of nowhere.
Yes, a lot.
So if you have some bots that could be on your side, it just helps you manage every direction that these splicers and these turrets are placed. But we also hear from Fontaine, and he says that we could have ruled with him. But how, Fontaine? You tried pretty much blowing us up right when you revealed that you were Fontaine.
I think this is the point that you brought up earlier where he's feeling threatened. I think this is where his feelings are right now. I think he didn't realize, I think Jack would be able to break free from his would you kindly curse. And now he's panicking. He saw that he could kill Andrew Ryan. He saw what Jack has been able to do to basically all of Rapture. He's a one-man wrecking crew. So now he's getting really afraid. So now I think he's throwing out the we could have ruled together type thing to either implant in our head or just, he's grasping at straws at this point to protect himself because I think he's a whittle afraid.
He's a whittle afraid, and he's going to have to protect himself real well because when you head to the fail-safe armored escorts to the furthest room, you will find the Big Daddy bodysuit. You could grab one, but you could also get the helmet, which is just found in the large room at the east of the fail-safe room.
God damn it. The Big Daddy boots need to be shipped here, not the damn library. What kind of idiot is Ryan hiring nowadays? This kind of bullshit never happened on the Fontaine.
I found this hilarious. Suchong's audio diaries are always about random things because he's obviously very selfish, a person and only looking out for himself, and he calls it what it is. But I love the fact that Rapture has shipping issues, shipping and delivery issues. Everyone in Rapture's just like here. Everyone in Rapture's just like us. Just the struggles with, FedEx or Amazon delivering the package to the wrong address.
That, and I feel like most of his audio diaries are basically corporate grievances. He's usually complaining about what he's doing or who he's doing it for, or he's just like, whatever. I guess I'll do this, but I think it's stupid. Yeah, he's a character. I wish we got to know him rather than just seeing his dead body open with a drill. Disturbingly before, but that's basically the only time we saw him was when he was dead.
Yeah. But you're right. It's definitely corporate grievances. And maybe he's trying to just keep his record of everything. So if he is, let go from whoever he's employed with, he's like, well, technically you should compensate me because you wouldn't allow me to do my job properly. Interestingly, though, Suchong says that this never happened under Fontaine, these mix-ups of where things should be shipped. And that is mentioned in another audio diary. And he says how Andrew Ryan was cheap compared to Fontaine, which was another eye-opener because I guess based on these boots being shipped to the wrong area, Andrew Ryan may be hiring low-wage workers who don't know how to do their job. And this is just painting another level of these two villains and how they kind of look at the world.
Well, I mean, Andrew Ryan is a pure capitalist by every sense of the word, so I can understand him trying to get cheap labor and being a cheap bastard, basically because he wants to, have as much money as possible because he loves ruling the free market. Yeah,
he lives to rule the free market and also everything else. But what it comes down to is we have to find these boots. We have to make our way to the Mendel family library. And on our way to the western end, you'll see the boots.
Where you gonna go? Your life? Your family? They're a fairy tale, kid. No more real than something you read about in the Saturday Evening Post. Poor bastard. A motherless freak. whipped up in a half-baked science experiment. You know, you should be thanking me. I brought you here. I showed you who you are. Nobody never told you nothing but lies till I come along.
Fontaine may be crazy, but he's technically not wrong.
How so?
Because if it wasn't for Fontaine, Jack would have never known about what happened to him, right? Also, what is the plan after Rapture, Jack?
Yeah, but that's BS because, yes, I guess he became aware of it, but he only became aware of it because Fontaine's plan didn't fully work, right?
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted an assassin to kill Andrew Ryan. I think that's all he wanted. And now it's become more than that. So you can tell in his voice, like, one, I really wish we had Atlas back because this guy, you know, his grammar sucks. I know he's not technically wrong, but man, he got us to hijack a plane, okay?
That's
to
true.
crash into.
And then even like he even said later, I think actually he might have said it at this point in the chapter that he sent us on a submarine, like, and we don't even remember these things.
Right.
I just feel like even though he's like a bit desperate right now, he does have a point. Like, Jack needs to start focusing on getting out of Rapture. Like, what is the plan after Rapture? Jack doesn't have a family, technically. Where's Jack gonna live, Nick?
No, but he was implanted into the real world, and he came back on Fontaine's orders, right? So
he has a life
technically,
out there.
Yes, but I mean, technically, you could say, like, Fontaine could say, oh, well, now I made you aware of this, but also, if you brought me into this whole mess, that I could have been still living in America, wherever I was, and living a life without, unless obviously if someone said, would you kindly to them in real life, then that would probably not end well.
Yeah, we wouldn't be as, like, the polite ask wouldn't be received well.
But realistically, how many people say, would you kindly?
I don't say would you kindly, but I will say after this reveal in Bioshock, I stopped signing my emails, or like really, I'm realizing I sign all my emails as kindly.
Really? So just even the word kindly is messing with you?
It's messing with me now. Because I would say before, kind regards. Now I say kindly, and now I can't say kindly because I think of would you kindly. So anyone have any suggestions for how to sign off emails, please send them our way right here, AutoSave Pod. Love to know. Now, this area is really cool because you have, now that you completed your suit, you have the fishbowl lens because you have the suit's helmet and you're fighting in it. I really like this look because it's just like, I don't know. It feels really cool. Even when you're putting on different aspects of the suit, like when you get the boots, your steps are heavier. You're hearing that. I really thought that was a cool detail that they put in the game. But now we have become a Big Daddy. Literally, we've become the box art because we also find a little sister tunnel, and we have a little sister join us by luring them out of the tunnel. I can't say these things.
It's really bad.
It's so bad.
You should have reworded this before.
Yeah, but that is what Tannenbaum says, okay? So I'm blaming Tannenbaum. But yeah, it's cool because then you have this full circle moment of maybe the cover art, I guess, instead of a random Big Daddy, maybe it was Jack in the Big Daddy suit.
See, it's even disturbing that these things are called Big Daddy as well. So it's just like,
I know.
Whatever they were doing here, maybe they should have, changed a lot of these words to make it more family friendly is what I would say.
It's a little dated. Now we find ourselves in the most hated missions in video games. We talked about it before. It's escort missions. And we have to head off to the proving grounds. Now, the little sister leads us to the door that Fontaine was locked out of. But as we're going along with the little sister, she's actually harvesting Adam from these bodies. And when she's harvesting Adam, it actually tracks splicers and bots for some reason. I don't get the bots thing, but sure. So be sure to hack some of these bots that come your way to, again, get a 360 view of all the splicers that are going to inevitably attack you because of the little sister. How did you find this? Because for me, if I hear Mr. B one more time, I'm going to use the Big Daddy drill and just drill through my head.
I mean, it was fun playing as the Big Daddy and seeing everything through the lens of a Big Daddy. That was cool. But I understand your frustration, especially with everything going around you at the time. Like, it is really, this is a difficult mission. Because not only do you have to make sure that the little sister survive, you also have to kill a bunch of enemies, and they could die as well.
Yes.
And then another little sister just comes. So I don't know. I don't know how many little sisters there are.
Hold on, wait. Did your little sister die?
Yes.
Wow.
The first one did.
Wow, Nick.
And then, but there's no repercussions whatsoever. Another little sister just shows up.
Which is kind of messed up. Because I didn't have a little sister die. Does Tannenbaum say anything when the little sister dies?
Not that I recall. Again, there's like no repercussions whatsoever.
If she really cares, why wouldn't, like, just a little bit of
You're just out to get Tannenbaum. That's all.
I'm just saying something's off.
Okay.
Something's off. But yeah, this is like the classic escort mission. There's a health bar for the little sisters. You have to protect them. And they keep talking. These little sisters just don't know how to shut it. I'm sorry, but it's like, it was cute at first.
Yeah.
Honestly, Nick.
Yeah.
It didn't annoy you a little bit?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Okay.
What was worse, though? Atreus in God of War Ragnarok trying to tell us all the answers to all the puzzles, or these little sisters talking?
I would say the little sisters, because they're saying these same exact things. They're like, angels are calling. And I'm like, you said that 5 times now. Let's increase the dialogue capacity here.
It's just, they don't even need to have this dialogue. It's just, they're just throwing out random statements.
No, there's no reason. They're having the dialogue. And it's like, it seems like, and I'm not a video game programmer, and I'm pretty sure things are much harder than I'm explaining it here, but it just seems like they put like 5 dialogue like options for these little sisters in the program, and like program them to come up every 15 seconds. And then they just rotate between that. That's what it's that. So that's why I think it was just really annoying. Even if there was just silence between the little sisters, dialogue, it would have just helped mitigate that frustrations and like just the annoyingness of like, I have all these spices coming at me and now I have to listen to you say the same thing like 10 more times. The other thing too is these little sisters aren't like the creepy little sisters that you see and that you save, that you rescue. These are the ones that are saved. Which makes me question, why did we have to become a Big Daddy? They already saw us on the table when Tannenbaum saved us. They were in the room playing. They helped us escape that explosion. Why did we have to become a Big Daddy in order, like, I get protecting them, but in order for them to help us, that also didn't make sense to me.
I don't want to be negative, but I don't think this entire chapter needed to exist.
Really?
Yeah, because at the end of the last chapter, we go up the elevator where Fontaine's basically like, all right, let's do this mano a mano. Okay. And then we go up there and then he runs away from us. And then we have to do this whole fetch quest of getting pheromones, dressing up as a Big Daddy, doing all this stuff, which to me just seemed pointless. Again, I think this game is great, and this is probably might be one of the best action sequences of the entire game.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful, seeing all those vats and whatever else around, and the scenery is really beautiful, but did it really need to be a chapter? I don't think so. So, yeah.
Maybe it didn't.
Are we learning anything from this?
We do.
We're just getting the same thing, like Fontaine upset, Tannenbaum telling us this, the little sister's talking forever.
Yeah.
It's just,
I get it.
What is adding value right now?
You're right. You're absolutely right. We didn't really get anything so far because it was just this chase sequence. But you know what? After you survive everything, the little sisters go back into their tunnel and they actually give us the atom harvesting tool that they were using to harvest all this atom that will drain Fontaine's atom, which I don't get because I thought they were collecting atom from the splicers. So why would that atom drain? Or is it just that because that tool is used to drain the splicer's atom?
Tool. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Because it was like glowing and I was like, ooh, this is a magical one. Like it's not like a regular one. It's a magical harvesting tool. So we're going to use this to, pretty much nerf Fontaine and get all the Adam out of him.
Hopefully, if he doesn't run away again.
Hopefully. And then that's the end of the chapter. We don't see Fontaine. We don't get to do this yet. But there are some audio diaries that help bring more of a background to why this chapter might have been necessary. And we're going to break them down right after this break.
Terrible thing. Japanese kill every man in my city, except for Suchong. Suchong have opium. Very good opium. This war, terrible thing too, but not for Suchong. Everyone's scared now. Everyone need Adam. More than little sisters can make. Good news is war makes lots of corpses. Suchong knows a way to recycle Adam from corpses. But can't send a little sister out to street unprotected. Suchong must think on this. Fontaine scary son of a bitch. But Ryan cheap son of a bitch. You can no reuse protector suit. Take a man, graft the skin and organs straight into suit. Otherwise your suit not work. Ryan say Big Daddy too expensive. Ryan can go suck an egg.
Go suck an egg. This is a new thing I'm going to be saying now. But throughout this chapter, we were learning more and more about the little sister and Big Daddy dynamic. We find out that little sisters were technically created to harvest Adam. They're little minors. Child labor.
No,
not surprised. What? Did I say something that I didn't even realize was like
just saying little minors? I don't know. It's just like,
oh no, Camille.
You probably have so many sound bites here. Someone could, I don't know.
I feel like we need to put like a, what do you call it?
Everything that involves the children. We just say little Debbies.
Like the cakes?
The cakes, yeah.
Okay, the little Debbies. No, because then it's like now I'm putting a name to them. That's worse.
It's the little Debbies. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Oh my god. Anyways, they're collecting Adam. Jeez. We have to put like a audio burn on this episode that just says in the context of Bioshock. In the context instead. Yeah, like yes. We just need that. That'd be great. Wow. That was taken out of context, but pretty much there's a lot we learn about the relationship between these children and, you know, these bots. I don't know how to word this. This is going to be weird now. And you see a lot of that in the Little Wonder area. You see the rooms where the little sisters are being held, and it's shedding light on the darkest, most twisted side of these horrific experiences that are happening in Rapture, especially when you hear Suchong talking about the fact that these big daddies and their suits are actually made of their skin.
Oh, it's so disturbing. So disturbing.
Like, I didn't think it was like that. Like, you know, because even looking at Bioshock, yes, it looks kind of creepy, but overall, it's not that gruesome. The details, though, in these details that were these like little twisted details that we're getting in how these characters were made is really sickening. Like, I was like,
oh yeah. And like, you can tell this place is just a nightmare to live in, period.
Yeah.
The experiments that were going on here, not only just, the splicing to this, I don't understand what they were trying to do other than like create a small army. Like, I'm not entirely sure what the point of all these experiments were. And to make it something like that where it's their skin. Like, okay, what's the purpose of that?
That may explain the pheromones. Like, I mean, if you're grafting skin onto these suits, they will smell. So it's skin.
Yes.
Skin will smell.
You look so disturbed right now for the audience listening on audio.
Disturbed, I am really. But do you feel like that? I found this chapter actually opened my eyes more to the Big Daddy experience, that I felt actually more like I felt really bad for them than I did prior to this chapter.
I think that was the only saving grace of the chapter. As I said in the previous segment, like, I don't know if we really needed this chapter, but this is its saving grace in terms of learning more about the Big Daddies and then also getting to put on the Big Daddy suit. I think that's pretty cool. And then kind of learning more context with the little sisters and how that dynamic works and all of that.
Mhm.
Or sorry, the little Debbies. But yeah, I think that's the most rewarding thing of this entire chapter is
Yeah.
the experience with the Big Daddy and becoming a Big Daddy. I think it's cool.
Yeah, and for me, that's why I enjoyed the chapter. And I will say, even though I was knocking the little sister and like how they kept saying the same dialogue while we were in that escort mission, because the escort mission was intense, there's lots of enemies. It was also brief. I didn't feel like it was drawn out. So I would say it was a good escort mission. This one falls into a good one for me. But you know what? We also had lots of questions in this chapter around Tannenbaum, and we find an audio diary from Tannenbaum herself.
I know why it has to be children, but why just girls? This I cannot determine why, but I know it is so. Fontaine says, one less bathroom to build in the orphanage. It is amazing to watch the effect of Adam on their small bodies. Their own cells replaced by the new stems the instant they are damaged. These children are practically invulnerable. It is a shame you could not do the same thing to an adult. There would be quite a market for a man you could not kill.
Uh-huh. A man you could not kill, you say. A man who might have been killing others, you didn't say. I mean, this may actually show her motive. I think this is revealing what her motive is and why she is helping Jack. If you don't trust her like myself, Jack is an adult man who is obviously strong, was kind of molded to be an assassin. Now, if she could take that, what he was kind of molded into, and have him become like an advanced little sister.
Do you think he already is?
I don't know.
Do you think he's the project
Little brother?
number one? What do you think he's like that invincible thing that she's talking about?
I think so. I think Jack is good for market. I think that's what this is hinting at. And I feel like this is exactly her motive. She practically convinced us to become a Big Daddy. I think this is all like, it's a test to see, not necessarily if she could control us, but it's a test to see our ability.
Okay, that makes sense. And listening to this as well, Tannenbaum seems pretty sketchy. Like, again, her motives seem very selfish in all of this. So, I can't take, I've been saying maybe she's like a saving grace here in Rapture, I guess. But yeah, she still has her selfish motives as well, which kind of sucks.
Definitely. Also, I'm really curious why it doesn't have to be the little girls. There's still no explanation, like Tannenbaum mentioned, around this. So I'm hoping that the game will give that to us as well. I mean, they're creepy as heck, so it works on that end. But I just don't know why. Do you have anything else to add, Nick, about this chapter?
I just want Fontaine to face us and stop being a coward and stop using those high leg kicks.
Stop running like a Looney Tune character. Yeah, I want to see Fontaine as well. And next week, hopefully, please, game. I can't be just strung along this time and time again. But we will have to see because we said the same thing last episode. So hopefully it'll happen next time on AutoSave. AutoSave is produced and hosted by Nick Andrade and myself, Camille Salazar-Hadaway. The show is also produced by Dylan Wilson. Gameplay and additional elements provided by Chris Zeiser. Technical production by Kevin Hilsden. Executive producer Clayton Hansler. You can follow the show at AutoSave Podcast on Twitter and AutoSave Pod on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. You can subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to it right now. And if it happens to be Apple Podcasts, kindly leave us a rating and a review, but only if it's good. AutoSave is a Soda original hosted on the Soda Podcast Network.